I, 30F, have been with my fiancé, 32M, for over 4 years. We are getting married this fall, and there are several things that happened over the years that I've let slide, but I worry that it's a bigger issue disguised as generosity. My fiancé, Mike, and his family are more financially well off than mine. There is a necklace I like that has a pendant using my initials, first slash middle slash last. I told him I loved that necklace, but that it made more sense to get it after we got married when I changed last name to his. He said that I could get it now since my birthday was coming up, but I said I'd want to wait until after we were married, since those weren't my initials yet. We got into a back and forth. I told him that if it's a gift for me, then it should be given to me at the right time. Well, my birthday just passed and he got the necklace with my soon-to-be initials on it. I was happy to get the necklace because I did want it eventually, thanked him and tried it on. Then took it off to store until after we get married. Mike got upset with me, saying I should just start wearing it now, and was insulted I didn't want to wear it yet. I reminded him I didn't even want to get it yet. I'm thankful, but want to wait to officially wear it until after wedding. I'm feeling upset that he clearly didn't listen to what I said. Mike blew up at me saying I was acting ungrateful, making a big deal about it, that I'd be changing my last name / initials in just a few months, etc. He doesn't get why I can't just start wearing it now. He's acting all pissy. It feels like the gift is more about him than me / my birthday. Earlier on in our relationship, we booked an all-inclusive resort vacation, split 50/50ths. We planned / booked it ourselves. Then a week before we were set to leave, his dad told us that he changed our resort and upgraded us to a sister resort close by. While that was extremely generous of him, it felt invasive to just change our reservations without asking first. I told my fiancé, BF at the time, that it was generous of his parents, but we are adults, and it was a little weird to go behind our backs to change anything without asking. I let it go because, after all, it was a nice upgrade. They paid the difference in price. When time to move in together, his parents offered to buy most of our furniture, which again is very generous, but they had to come with us for all the shopping. Since our parents don't really get along too well, it was essentially a way of excluding my parents in any of the furniture shopping, and his parents inserted themselves into the process. I often felt like Mike and his parents would kind of take over, like I had the least amount of opinion of the four of us. When I discussed with Mike, he made it seem like I was ungrateful and insisted that if his parents were paying for the furniture, then they had to come shopping with us. It's only fair. Each of these things by themselves aren't a huge deal, but there's a pattern and many more instances of similar situations. I'm feeling like this marriage is a mistake.
Comment 1. NTA. And call off the marriage. This is not good. His parents are too involved in his life. Unfortunately, this is very common with well-off families. Your fiancé sounds very controlling. Him insisting you wear that necklace is weird. It also isn't right because it isn't your last name yet, and so those are not your initials. Also, he sounds cheap. You say he makes a lot more money than you, and yet he couldn't pay for the vacation. All around he sounds selfish, controlling, and enmeshed with his family. This will only get worse after you get married. I would not be surprised if he tries to spring a prenup on you last minute. Get out of this. You are still young enough to move on and find someone else. But stop wasting time on this joker. OP comment. He's definitely a mama's boy, seeks approval from his parents frequently. I feel like I've been way too flexible and it's really starting to get to me. I stupidly have been blinded by the gifts and generosity of him and his parents over the years, but coming to terms with the fact that this is not a healthy arrangement. Comment 2. NTA, as I'm reading this, I'm feeling stifled and it's not even happening to me. Your fiancé completely dismisses you in this relationship, and it sounds so unhealthy. Without a lot of counseling, this kind of behavior won't change. What's going to happen if you have kids? Will your parenting strategies be dismissed? I would run for the hills and wait until you find someone who values you. My mother-in-law, 59, fell ill last year and basically begged my husband to move us, him, me and our 4 children, into her 6-bedroom farmhouse to help her with bills and her basic needs. I didn't want to do this under any circumstances, but my husband pushed the issue. I felt I had zero say whatsoever, but I have continuously made my distaste known. We moved in November and she signed the deed to the house over to my husband. All the other bills are still in her name: water, heat, electric. I do not work currently. Our youngest is 8 months old and I have been a Zam for 6 years now. Our other children are 5-year twins and 3 years. I have been home since I got pregnant with the twins, as it was a high-risk pregnancy. I do have income, however, doing hobby work. I make and sell customized quilts and make a decent amount of money off of it. My husband is currently paying nearly $2,800 a month here and I pay for all of the food. His mother literally only contributes by cleaning and maybe $400 a month, despite working full-time and making around $4,000 monthly. She basically says that she's putting all of her money into her retirement fund, which is damn near non-existent. Well, 2 months ago my mother-in-law started really pushing the fact that she wants me to put my younger children in daycare full-time and get a real job so I can contribute to the remainder of her bills because she feels too weak to work and wants to quit her job. I have refused. For starters, I am not putting my children in daycare. My husband agrees. I also breastfeed the baby. And I also made it abundantly clear that I wouldn't be responsible for any of her bills because I didn't want to be here. My husband told me from day one that I would be responsible for nothing outside of food, which I have held up on. So mother-in-law is eating for free and having 90% of her bills paid for by my husband. She doesn't need anything else from us. But last night she started screaming at my husband about how she apparently wanted us to come here so she can retire early and that the least we could do is pay for everything here, since she signed over the house to us, and said that I needed to get off my ass and contribute because he shouldn't be made to pay for everything when I'm more than capable. I walk in and tell her she had best stop running her mouth about me when I'm not in the room to defend myself and that I am not putting my children in daycare to make her life more cushy than she already has it. I told her if she wants to retire then there are plenty of retirement homes or we could move out and she can pay for 100% of her bills as she was before, but I refused to do anything more than I'm doing. My husband told me I should have stayed out of it and let him handle it, but his way of handling it is by saying, "I know, Mom, I get what you're saying," and nothing more. Comment 1. NTA. Your mother-in-law is only 59. Do you really want to spend the next 20 to 35 years living with the woman? It's definitely time to tell your husband you will need an alternate plan. Also, you did a great job defending yourself, especially since your husband was not. Comment 2. NTA. That wasn't the agreement. Why is she only paying $400 per month all in to include full room and board? She's making out like a bandit while her lifestyle is now being subsidized, allowing her the luxury of contemplating early retirement without having the funds to justify it. Also, to pay for an infant plus a toddler in daycare at the same time would wipe out the earnings from many jobs in many areas after factoring in taxes, etc. Comment 3. NTA. I'm a big fan of letting husband deal with the in-laws because you're now the evil daughter-in-law. But your husband doesn't seem to be handling things and you are human. You have a husband problem. He needs to acknowledge the issues and work as a team with you. You are contributing plenty. It's beyond out of line for your mill to come to you to interfere in your family's financial arrangements. She seems to think you do nothing since you are a Zam. I'm sorry, but there's little chance of her changing her mind. Your husband needs to do better for you and the children. Wife's birthday was on Sunday. On Saturday evening, I planned a birthday party for her at a nice B&B and invited our friends and family. She had a good time and thanked me for planning a wonderful party. On Sunday, I gifted her jewelry and arranged a cake for her. And I thought that was that. I was also tired from basically staying up that night as I have a client project due this week and was working when my wife was sleeping. So I planned to nap on Sunday to make up for how much I worked and squeezing in the birthday plans. However, after we had brunch, with the birthday cake and all, around 1 p.m, my wife asked me to put lotion on her feet and kiss her neck as her real birthday gift. I said, "I'm sorry, honey, not today, I need to sleep." She got upset about this and said I never do the things that she wants for her and thought at least on her own birthday I wouldn't decline. She argued with me and I offered to do it either way, but she said she was too upset about it now. I said I felt like she doesn't appreciate how much I do for her and hope to see an improved attitude from her next time. I was too jaded from that interaction and went to take a hot shower and prepare to sleep in. She was fuming when I came from the bathroom after shower and said she expected me to make it up to her for spoiling her birthday and giving her a lecture when all she wanted was to feel pleasure. I just waved my hand and told her to deal with it, and said I was giving her space until she feels better about this and calms down, then went to take a nap. After I woke up after 4 hours, I could see her eyes were swollen. She had probably cried on the couch this whole time, and I felt bad about dismissing her like that. I said I was sorry for being blunt and making her feel bad today. Although I still wanted us to address that I didn't feel supported at all and what we could do to understand each other better. However, now she doesn't want to talk to me. It's been a few days and she is still short with me. I don't think it was that big of a deal, and it's a weird hill to die on, to the point you won't even talk to your spouse properly who planned a party for you and gifted you jewelry that she wanted. I feel like she's only looking at things I don't do rather than give me credit and appreciation for things that I do for her. It's really been putting me off from her. Edit. She wanted the birthday party. She explicitly asked me to plan it for her. I looked at everything from B&B to catering and the guest list. And she wanted me to plan it for her. She wanted the jewelry too. She had expressed it months ago that she loved a particular necklace we didn't buy then, and was overjoyed when I gifted it to her. The only gift I didn't give to her was foot rubs and intimacy because I was physically exhausted and thought the person I married would understand. Comment 1. I'm confused why you couldn't kiss her neck a little then nap. Rubbing feet is more involved, so I can see you being too tired to do that. I also don't understand why when she wanted physical contact you didn't suggest snuggling while you nap. Wouldn't that solve both problems? Comment 2. I just spent 2 years with someone in a relationship where I would make up for my lack of physical attraction for him by providing all kinds of material stuff. It sucked, and I'm seeing in your post a lot of the same lies I tell myself to assuage my guilt over not loving my partner the way he deserved to be loved. Just thought I'd give you a heads up. You know exactly what you're not providing, and those are emotional and physical voids that you cannot fill with money. I have 2 kids, Kathy, 29F, and Michael, 25M. Kathy lives with me, pays a portion of the bills and has no plans on moving out anytime soon. We have our own business that we operate out of our home. It's easier for her to live here and it's great because I have help with the bills. Whereas, Michael lives about an hour away for work and has his own apartment. For a while, I kept Michael's room as is. He's shared several times. He has no plans of moving back home as his job is in the city he moved to. Kathy had a very close friend who has a 2-year-old daughter, Zoe. Friend named Kathy her daughter's godmother as well as guardian should she pass. Unfortunately, that happened 6 months ago. Kathy's friend was a single mom, so Kathy was granted custody. At first, Zoe was sharing a room with Kathy as she had extreme separation anxiety. However, she's now ready for her own room. As our home is a 3-bedroom, we don't have anywhere else to put her. When I told Michael what we were doing, I said I'd get a pull-out for the living room or I could get a daybed for my room when he visits overnight for holidays. I know rooming with your mom isn't fun, but I want to give him options. He's mad that I gave the room to Zoe. He says that was his room. I said I understand, but he doesn't live with me. Kathy does and pays bills. She's even paying more now because she feels she's using more resources with Zoe living with us. I'd feel different if Kathy and Zoe were moving out soon, but they're not. At this point, Kathy plans to adopt Zoe. I want to help her. My mom helped me raise my kids, her mom helped her. It's in our culture to have a multi-generational household. Moving isn't an option. I can make the space more private for Michael when he spends the night, a divider in the living room. But as he usually only sleeps her 2 or 3 times a year, it just doesn't feel practical. I said if Michael ever needed to move home permanently, we'd make something work. And I'd also help him with his child if he was in this situation. He says he doesn't want kids. I said that's fine, but this is the situation at this moment. He feels Kathy should move out. I said I'm not kicking her out just so he can have a room the few times he spends the night. Comment 1. My parents sold their home and live in an RV now. He is not entitled to a room at his mommy's house forever. You have the space you have and you need to make things work for the people actually living in the house. If he has to get a hotel room when he visits, then that's just the way it is. He needs to start acting like a man and stop throwing a tantrum like a little boy. He should be ashamed of himself too, trying to put your sister and that sweet kid through more BS after such a loss. His sister is grieving the loss of her best friend still, I'm sure, and being thrown into becoming a mother suddenly. And that poor girl just lost her mother and has no father around either. Comment 2. Your son is being an entitled brat. He has no interest moving back home, yet he thinks you're obligated to keep a dedicated room for him in your house. That's a big no. He's not paying your bills, he's not visiting on weekends, so why does he need a room of his own?